The sun was setting when Sky burst into the street. She was 7 years old. Her red dress hung in tatters. Her bare feet left marks on the pavement. She ran like something terrible chased her. "Please!" she screamed. "Someone help me. He's coming." 20 motorcycles lined the curb outside Rusty Jack's bar. The steel vows had just parked. Big men in leather vests turned toward the sound. Oaks saw her first. The little girl crashed into his legs. Her small hands grabbed his jeans. She couldn't catch her breath. Her whole body shook. "He's coming," she gasped. "Please don't let him take me back." Oaks knelt down fast. "Who's coming, sweetheart?" Her eyes darted down the empty street. "Wild. Terrified. The man everyone loves," she whispered. "The man with the big house. The man who does charity on TV. He said nobody would ever believe me." Before we dive deeper into the story, tell me, where are you listening from? And don't forget to subscribe so I can share more incredible stories with you tomorrow. Tank stepped closer. Marek and Drax circled around. 20 bikers went silent. They'd seen fear before. But this was different. This was a child running for her life. Oaks touched her shoulder gently. "What's your name?" "Sky." "I'm Oaks. You're safe now." "Who are you running from?" She swallowed hard. Her voice barely came out. "Mr. Aldridge." The name hit like cold water. Aldridge. The billionaire. The man who built hospitals. Fed the homeless. Smiled on every magazine cover. The town hero. Tank's jaw dropped. "You mean the Aldridge? The charity guy?" Sky nodded fast. Tears spilled down her dirty cheeks. "He pretends to help kids. Everyone thinks he's wonderful. But he has a basement. A secret place under his house. Once you go down there..." Her voice broke. "Bad things happen." Oaks felt his stomach turn. "What did he do to you?" Marek asked quietly. "Not me yet. But I saw things. Heard crying at night. Other kids who stopped smiling. I knew I had to run before it was my turn." Drax looked at Oaks. Neither knew what to say. They moved her inside the bar quickly. Away from windows. Away from watching eyes. Tank stood guard. Marek brought water. She drank like she hadn't had any in days. "How did you escape?" Oaks asked. "There was a storm last night. The power went out. I heard shouting upstairs. I hid behind a laundry cart and just ran. I didn't stop until I saw you." She looked up at him with those big, broken eyes. "You look strong. Can you stop him?" Oaks didn't know how to answer. Aldridge had money. Power. The police probably loved him. Fighting him meant risking everything. But then Sky's whole body went stiff. She stared at the window. A black SUV rolled past. Slow. Deliberate. Tinted windows. It stopped at the corner and just sat there. Sky's voice dropped to a whisper. "That's his car. He found me." The SUV didn't move. Just waited. Like a predator watching prey. Oaks stood up slowly. His hand instinctively went to his belt. "Not today," he said quietly. The other bikers moved toward their bikes without a word. Because sometimes doing the right thing means doing the dangerous thing. And 20 men just decided they'd rather face hell than hand over a terrified 7-year-old to a monster in a fancy suit. They moved Sky to the back room fast. Away from windows. Away from that SUV still waiting outside. Marek wrapped a blanket around her shoulders. Drax handed her crackers from behind the bar. She ate like she hadn't seen food in days. Tank positioned himself at the door. But nothing stopped her shaking. Oaks pulled up a chair. Kept his voice soft. "Sky, I need you to tell me what happened. Why were you at Aldridge's house?" She stared at her hands. "My mama worked for him. At his charity foundation. She organized his fundraisers and helped poor families get food. Where's your mama now? Sky's lip trembled. Gone. 3 months ago, she went to his office late one night. Said she needed to talk to him about something important. She never came home. The room went cold. What do you mean, never came home? Tank asked. I waited all night. The next morning, Aldridge showed up at our apartment with social workers. He said, Mama ran away. Abandoned me. That she had problems nobody knew about. Sky's voice cracked. But Mama wouldn't leave me. She just wouldn't. Oakes felt something twist in his chest. What happened after that? Aldridge said he'd take care of me. Everyone said how generous he was. The social workers smiled and called him a saint. They put me in his house that same day. Marek cursed under his breath. At first, it seemed okay, Sky continued. Nice room. Good food. A tutor came every day. But I wasn't allowed outside. Couldn't use the phone. Couldn't talk to anyone without him listening. How many other kids were there? Oakes asked. I don't know exactly. Maybe 15. 20. We were kept in different wings. But at night, I heard them. Crying. Begging. Doors locking. Drax's hands clenched into fists. Sky rubbed her wrist. A faint bruise circled it. He brings important people to the house sometimes. Politicians. Police chiefs. Rich couples. They walk through the main rooms and smile and talk about his charity work. But they never see the basement. Never see where we really live. Did you try to tell anyone? Tank asked. I told the housekeeper. She said, Mr. Aldridge pays her family's rent and she's not about to lose that. I told the tutor. She reported me to Aldridge. He locked me in a closet for a whole day. Sky's voice got smaller. He said if I ever spoke about it again, I'd end up like Mama. The words hung in the air like poison. Oakes leaned forward. Sky, do you know what happened to your mama? She shook her head. Tears spilled over. But sometimes at night, I'd hear Aldridge on the phone, talking about people who asked too many questions. Had to be handled quietly. Suddenly, Sky's head snapped toward the window. Her whole body went rigid. The car moved, she whispered. It's circling the block. Oak stood and looked through the blinds. The black SUV was closer now. Headlights off. Engine running. Tank checked his watch. He's not leaving. He's waiting for backup or nightfall. Either way, we're running out of time. Sky grabbed Oak's hand. Please. You have to believe me. I know everyone loves him. I know he looks perfect. But that man is evil. And if he gets me back. She couldn't finish the sentence. Oakes knelt down and looked her straight in the eyes. I believe you. And I promise, he's not getting you back. Outside, the SUV's headlights suddenly flicked on. The SUV crept forward like a predator sizing up its prey. Every biker moved to the windows, 20 men who'd survived everything life threw at them. But this felt different. Wrong. Tank lowered the blinds carefully. We need to leave. Now. Sky clutched the blanket tighter. He finds everyone. He always does. Not this time, Drax said, but his voice lacked confidence. Oakes gathered his men away from Sky's hearing. Aldridge has the whole town fooled. Money, connections, probably half the police force in his pocket. We can't just call 911. So what's the plan? Marek asked. We get her somewhere safe. Somewhere he won't think to look. They worked fast. Bikes rolled quietly to the back exit. Helmets came off handlebars. Every move was calculated, silent. Oakes lifted Sky into his arms. She weighed almost nothing. We're going for a ride. You ever been on a motorcycle? She shook her head, eyes wide. You're gonna love it. Just hold on tight and trust me. Where are we going? Somewhere safe. Her voice dropped. Is anywhere safe from him? The question hit harder than Oaks expected. He didn't have a good answer. They slipped out the back alley. Engines roared to life all at once. The sound echoed off buildings like thunder. Sky pressed her face into Oak's leather vest as they rode through town. Stores were closing. Families headed home for dinner. People waved at the bikers, smiling, completely unaware that a monster lived among them in a mansion on the hill. Aldridge's estate is only 10 minutes from here, Marek shouted over the wind. Too close, Oaks muttered. They reached Willow Creek Bridge. A narrow stretch over dark water. The kind of lonely place where bad things happen and nobody notices until morning. Oaks started to throttle forward. Stop! Sky suddenly yelled. He hit the brakes. Gravel sprayed. The other bike screeched to a halt. What's wrong? Oaks asked, heart pounding. Sky pointed toward the riverbank with a trembling hand. A small white shoe sat half buried in mud. Pink strap. Clean sole. Too new to have been there long. Tank climbed off his bike and walked over. Picked it up carefully. This is a child's shoe. Recent. Sky's face went pale. That's Mila's. Everyone froze. Who's Mila? Drax asked. She's 6. She was in the basement with me. Sky's voice shook. Last week, Aldridge took her away because she cried too much. He said she needed to learn to be quiet. The words landed like stones in water. Where would he take her? Oaks asked gently. His hunting cabin. Up the river. The other kids whispered about it. They said once you go there, you don't come back the same. Marek stared at the shoe in Tank's hand. How far is this cabin? 2 miles upstream. There's a back trail through the woods. Oaks looked at his men. Saw the same thought on every face. They'd come this far to save one child. But now they knew there was another. Tank revved his engine. Then we ride. But Sky grabbed Oak's vest. You can't take me with you. If Aldridge sees me, he'll call the police. Tell them you kidnapped me. Everyone will believe him, not you. The truth of it settled heavy. I'm not leaving you alone, Oaks said firmly. I know where to hide. The old church on Willow Hill. My mama took me there before she disappeared. Aldridge hates that place. Why? He came once for a charity photo. Wouldn't go inside. Said churches make him uncomfortable. She looked up at Oaks. He won't look for me there. The bikers exchanged glances. Marek nodded slowly. I'll stay with her. You guys find Mila. Sky's eyes filled with tears. Please bring her home. Oaks touched her cheek gently. I promise. But as they split up, heading different directions into the night, every man carried the same fear. They weren't just riding to save children anymore. They were riding straight into the darkest secret their town had ever kept. Oaks stood at the water's edge, still holding Sky. The shoe sat there like evidence, screaming to be heard. Tank turned it over in his hands. The straps torn. Ripped clean through. This wasn't dropped. It was pulled off. Sky buried her face in Oaks' shoulder. Mila fights when she's scared. She kicks and screams. That's why Aldridge took her away. Drax knelt by the muddy bank, studied the ground. Fresh tire tracks. Big vehicle. Heavy tread. Came through here maybe an hour ago. An hour? Oak's jaw tightened. She could still be alive. Or he could be covering his tracks, Tank said quietly. Sky lifted her head. There's no electricity at the cabin. Just candles. Aldridge says lights leave trails that people can follow. Her voice got smaller. Mila's afraid of the dark. She used to cry herself to sleep every night. The weight of those words crushed the air from the space around them. Marek checked his phone. Shook his head. No signal out here. We're completely on our own. Good, Oak said. That means Aldridge can't track us either. Tank stared upstream into the darkness. If we go after Mila now, he'll know. He's probably got cameras on every trail. Let him know, Oaks shot back. I'm not leaving a 6-year-old out there. Sky touched his face. But if you take me and he finds us together, he'll tell everyone you kidnapped both of us. The police will arrest you. Everyone will believe him because he's Mr. Aldridge. The logic was sound and it made Oak's blood boil. Drax stood up, brushing mud off his knees. The kid's right. Aldridge owns this town. Owns the story. We show up with 2 missing children, we're the criminals. So we just leave Mila. Tank's voice cracked with anger. No. Sky spoke with surprising firmness. You hide me at the church first. Then you get Mila. Then you'll have proof he's lying. Oaks looked down at her. What proof? The cabin. He keeps records there. Photos. Documents. Everything he doesn't want people to see. I heard him tell someone on the phone that if anyone ever came for him, he'd burn the cabin before they could reach it. Marek's eyes widened. He has evidence of his own crimes. He calls it insurance. Says if he ever gets caught, he can threaten to expose all the important people who knew what he was doing. Sky's voice trembled. Politicians. Police chiefs. Rich people. He said they'd all go down with him. The bikers went silent. This wasn't just about one billionaire anymore. This was bigger. Darker. Oaks made a decision. Marek, take Sky to the church. Lock the doors. Don't open them for anyone but us. Marek nodded. What if Aldridge shows up? He won't. Sky said he hates that place. Sky grabbed Oak's hand. Promise you'll find Mila. Promise you'll come back. Oaks hesitated. He'd learned not to make promises he couldn't keep. But looking into this 7-year-old's desperate eyes, he couldn't help himself. I promise. Marek lifted Sky onto his bike. She looked so small against his broad back. You're the bravest kid I've ever met, he told her. I'm not brave, she whispered. I'm just tired of being scared. They rode off toward the hill where the old church stood. The rest of the bikers watched them disappear into the darkness. Tank picked up Mila's shoe again. Tucked it carefully into his vest. For evidence. When this is over. Oak stared upstream where the cabin waited. Let's go get that little girl. But as they mounted their bikes, every man knew the same truth. They were riding toward a man who'd proven he could make people disappear. And they might be next. The old church sat crooked at the top of Willow Hill. Paint peeling. Windows cracked. Locals called it haunted. Teenagers dared each other to go inside. Adults drove past without looking. But Sky pointed at it like it was home. He never comes here. It makes him feel weak. Marek helped her off the bike. The church door creaked when he pushed it open. Inside smelled like old paper and rain. Moonlight came through the broken stained glass, painting colors across the dusty floor. This was Mama's favorite place, Sky whispered. Before everything happened. Marek found an old pew. That wasn't too damaged. Brushed off the dust. You'll be safe here. I promise. Sky sat down, pulling the blanket tight around her shoulders. What if you don't come back? We will. That's what Mama said. The night she left for Aldridge's office. Her voice broke. She said she'd be back by breakfast. That was 3 months ago. Marek knelt in front of her. This big, rough man who'd spent years running from the law. Your mama was trying to protect you. That's what parents do. Are you a parent? The question hit him hard. I was. Long time ago. Made mistakes. Lost custody. Haven't seen my daughter in 8 years. Sky looked at him with those knowing eyes children have. Do you miss her? Every single day. Then you understand. You understand why I can't just hide and do nothing. She stood up. My mama disappeared because she found out something about Aldrich. Something bad enough that he had to stop her. Marek's throat tightened. Sky, you're 7 years old. You can't. I know where mama hid things. Important things. Papers she didn't want Aldrich to find. The air in the church shifted. What kind of papers? Marek asked carefully. Bank records. Photos. Names. She kept them in a box under the floorboards in our old apartment. Sky's hands twisted the blanket. I wanted to go back and get them, but Aldrich moved me into his house so fast. He said our apartment was being cleared out. That everything would be donated. Where was your apartment? Maple Street. Number 42. 3rd floor. The floorboard is loose near the closet in Mama's room. Marek pulled out his phone. Still no signal. He walked to the window, held it up. One bar flickered. He texted Oaks, kid says mother hid evidence. Old apartment, Maple St. 42. 3rd floor. The response took 2 minutes, get it. Now. Marek looked back at Sky. I need to leave for a little while. Get those papers before Aldrich finds them. Fear flashed across her face. You said. You'd stay with me. I know. But if your mama risked everything to hide evidence, we can't let it disappear. He moved an old wooden bench against the door. This will hold. Nobody can get in without making noise. You hear anything strange, you hide behind that altar. There's a door back there that leads to the cemetery. You run and don't stop. Sky's lip trembled. I don't want to be alone. Marek's heart cracked. He thought of his own daughter. 8 years without seeing her face. 8 years of wondering if she remembered him. I'll be fast. 30 minutes. Maybe less. He handed her his knife. Just in case. But you won't need it. She took it with shaking hands. Marek walked to the door, then stopped. Sky. Your mama was brave. Really brave. And so are you. Brave people still die, she whispered. He had no answer for that. The church door closed behind him with a hollow sound. His bike engine started. The rumble faded into the night. Sky sat alone in the darkness, surrounded by broken stained glass and shadows. She pulled her knees to her chest and started counting. Counting kept the fear away. 1, 2, 3. Outside, a car engine purred in the distance. Getting closer. Oaks and his men stopped their bikes half a mile from the cabin. Engine noise would give them away. Tank pulled out a map, spread it on his bike seat. The cabin's through these woods. Quarter mile on foot. Drax checked his watch. It's almost 9. If Mila's there, we need to move before Aldrich decides to relocate her. Oaks stared into the dark woods. What do we know about this place? Sky said no electricity. Just candles. That means he's trying to stay off any grid. Tank folded the map. Smart. No power bills. No record of anyone being there. How does a billionaire have a cabin nobody knows about? Drax asked. Easy. He buys it under a shell company. Pays cash. Never puts his name on anything. Oaks had seen it before. Rich people hiding assets. The question is, what's he using it for? Nobody wanted to answer that. They started walking. Leaves crunched under their boots. Somewhere an owl called out. The woods felt too quiet. What's the play when we get there? Tank whispered. We look first. Count how many people. Find Mila. Then we figure out extraction. And if Aldrich is there? Oak's jaw tightened. Then we deal with it. 5 minutes later, they saw light through the trees. Flickering. Candles, just like Sky said. The cabin was small. 1 story. Windows covered with thick curtains. A black Range Rover sat parked out front. That's his car, Drax breathed. He's here. They crouched behind trees, watching. Waiting. A shadow moved past the window. Tall. Male. Had to be Aldridge. Then they heard it. Faint. Almost impossible to catch. A child crying. Oak's fists clenched. Every instinct screamed to kick down that door. But that would put Mila in more danger. Tank's phone buzzed. He checked it, eyes widening. Showed Oakes the screen. Marek, kid says mother hid evidence. Going to old apartment to retrieve. Oakes texted back, copy. We found the cabin. Aldridge is inside. Marek, he can't know you're there. Not yet. Need evidence first. Oakes wanted to argue. Wanted to say a 6-year-old's life mattered more than evidence. But Marek was right. Without proof, Aldridge would spin this into kidnapping charges. The bikers would be arrested. Mila would go back into that basement. Another text came through, something's wrong. Car just pulled up to the church. Oak's blood went cold. Marek, getting back there now. If it's Aldridge's people. The message stopped. Drax grabbed Oak's arm. Sky's alone. If they find her, Marek's 2 minutes away, Oak said, but his voice shook. He'll get there. Tank stood up. We need to split. Some of us stay here. Some go back for Sky. No. Oakes shook his head. We split up, we're weaker. Aldridge wants that. Wants us scattered and panicking. So what do we do? Drax hissed. The crying inside the cabin got louder. Desperate. Then a man's voice. Smooth. Calm. Terrifying in its gentleness. Hush now, Mila. The more you cry, the longer this takes. Oakes felt rage burn through him like fire. His phone buzzed again. Marek, it's not Aldridge. It's a police car. Officer just went inside the church. Marek. Sky's hiding. I can see her through the window. Behind the altar like I told her. Marek, officers calling someone. Talking about a missing child. About bikers. The trap was closing. Aldridge hadn't come himself. He'd sent the law. Because he knew exactly how to make innocent men look guilty. Oakes looked at his crew. He's playing us. Keeping us here while police find Sky. When they do, they'll say we kidnapped her. What's the move? Tank asked. Oakes stared at the cabin. At the light flickering through the curtains. At the place where Mila was crying. He had to choose. Save one child now, or save both children by getting the evidence first. We wait, he finally said. Marek gets the papers. Then we move. But waiting meant listening to that little girl cry. And every second felt like betrayal. Marek's bike tore down Maple Street like lightning. His phone buzzed constantly in his pocket but he couldn't look. Not at this speed. Number 42. Third floor. That's all he needed to remember. He pulled up to the old apartment building. Half the windows were dark. A, for lease, sign swung in the wind. He took the stairs 3 at a time. The third floor hallway smelled like mildew and old carpet. Most doors had eviction notices. Sky's old apartment was at the end. Door slightly open. Someone had already been here. Marek's stomach dropped. He pushed the door wider. Stepped inside carefully. The place was gutted. Furniture gone. Walls bare. Even the light fixtures had been removed. But the floors were still there. He went straight to what must have been the bedroom. Found the closet. Dropped to his knees and started pressing floorboards. Third one clicked. He pried it up with his knife. Underneath was a metal lockbox. Rusted. Old. He pulled it out and shook it. Something slid around inside. His phone buzzed again. This time he looked. Oakes, status? Marek, got the box. Heading back to church now. Oakes, police are there. Don't approach yet. Marek's heart hammered. Sky was alone with a cop. A cop who probably worked for Aldridge. He texted back, "What's the play? Oaks, wait for my signal. We move together." Marek shoved the phone in his pocket. Grabbed the lockbox. Started for the door. That's when he heard footsteps in the hallway. Heavy. Deliberate. Coming closer. He froze. A man's voice called out. "Buildings condemned. Nobody's supposed to be in here." Marek didn't answer. Looked around for another exit. Fire escape outside the window. Rusted but climbable. The footsteps stopped right outside the door. "I know. Someone's in there. Come out slow. Hands where I can see them." Marek moved to the window. Tried to open it. Painted shut. He'd have to break it. The door swung fully open. A security guard stood there. Flashlight in one hand. Radio in the other. "Step away from the window," the guard said. "Mr. Aldridge wants that box you're holding." So Aldridge knew. Had known all along about the evidence, probably had people watching the apartment for months waiting for someone to come looking. "Can't do that," Marek said calmly. "Then I call the police. Tell them someone's breaking and entering." "Go ahead. Call them. Let's see what's in this box together." Marek held it up. "Maybe they'll be interested too." The guard's face twitched. "You don't understand who you're dealing with." "Oh, I understand perfectly. Rich man thinks he owns everybody. Thinks he can make children disappear and nobody will care." Marek took a step forward. "But you know what? I care. And so do 19 other guys just like me." The guard's hand went to his belt. Not for a gun. For his radio. Marek didn't hesitate. He threw the lockbox through the window. Glass shattered. Then he dove after it. Hit the fire escape hard. Pain shot through his shoulder, but he kept moving. Grabbed the box. Started down the rusted ladder. Above him, the guard yelled into his radio. "He's running. Southbound on the fire escape." Marek hit the ground. Sprinted to his bike. Engine roared to life. His phone buzzed as he rode. "Oaks, church clear. Officer left. Get Sky now." Marek twisted the throttle. The bike screamed through empty streets. But as he turned onto Hill Road, he saw something that made his blood freeze. The church was dark. Too dark. The door hung open. And Sky's blanket lay on the steps. No girl. Just the blanket. And a note pinned to it. Marek jumped off the bike, hands shaking as he grabbed the paper. 5 words in perfect handwriting. "She came willingly this time." Buzzed. "Unknown number." He answered. Aldridge's smooth voice poured through. "Hello, Marek. Looking for something?" Marek's hand shook as he held the phone. "Where is she?" Aldridge's voice was silk over steel. "Safe. For now. Funny thing about children, they trust people who smile. I simply told her the officer was bringing her to you." "You're lying." "Sky wouldn't what? Trust a uniformed policeman? That's what good citizens do, Marek." Aldridge chuckled. "She got into the car without a single tear. Amazing what a badge and a kind word can do." Marek wanted to scream. "If you hurt her, hurt her. I'm protecting her from dangerous bikers who kidnapped her from my care. That's what the news will say. That's what everyone will believe." Aldridge paused. "You have something that belongs to me. A little metal box. I want it back." "Never." "Then Sky stays with me. Mila too. And any evidence you think you have becomes irrelevant because, well, no witnesses." The line went dead. Marek immediately called Oaks. He took her. Aldridge has Sky. Silence on the other end. Then, how? Cop. Fake rescue. She trusted the uniform. Marek kicked the church steps. "He wants the lockbox." Says if we don't hand it over, we don't negotiate with him. Oak's voice was hard as iron. Meet us at the ridge overlooking his mansion. 20 minutes. What's the plan? We're getting both girls out. Tonight. 20 minutes later, all the bikers gathered on a hill overlooking Aldridge's estate. The mansion glowed like a palace. Fountains. Marble columns. Security cameras everywhere. Tank whistled low. That's a fortress. With 2 children inside, Oak said. We know the layout from Sky. Main basement entrance through the kitchen. Secondary entrance through the library. Drax studied the property through binoculars. 4 guards outside. Probably more inside. Plus cameras on every corner. Marek held up the lockbox. What about this? We don't even know what's inside. Oakes took it. The lock was old but solid. He smashed it against a rock. It took 3 hits before it broke open. Inside were photographs. Bank statements. A small notebook filled with names and dates. Tank grabbed one photo. His face went pale. That's Judge Morrison. At some kind of party. Look at the background, Drax said. Those are kids. Young kids. Serving drinks. Marek picked up another photo. State Senator Richards. Police Chief Duncan. Half the town council. The notebook listed payments. Donations. Dates that matched campaign events and fundraisers. He's been buying them. Oak said quietly. Every important person in town. That's why nobody questions him. This could destroy all of them, Tank said. No wonder he wants it back. Oakes pulled out his phone. Started taking pictures of every document, every photo, every page. What are you doing? Marek asked. Insurance. If something happens to us, this still gets out. He sent the photos to 3 different email accounts. Now we have leverage. Drax pointed at the mansion. So what's the play? We can't just walk up and knock. No. But Aldridge doesn't know we have copies of everything yet. He thinks we're desperate and scared. Oakes looked at his men. We call him. Tell him we'll trade the box for both girls. Public place. Neutral ground. He'll never agree to that, Tank said. He will. Because his ego won't let him believe we'd outsmart him. Oakes dialed the number Aldridge had called from. It rang twice. I wondered when you'd call. Aldridge answered. I have your box. You have the girls. Let's make a trade. Aldridge laughed. Why would I trade? I have everything I want. Because I'm about to email these photos to every news station in the state. Let's see how much the town loves you when they see Judge Morrison at your private parties. The silence stretched long. When Aldridge spoke again, his voice had changed. Colder. Sharper. Where and when? Willow Creek Bridge. 1 hour. You bring both girls. We bring the box. Everybody walks away. And the photos? Gone. Deleted. You have my word. Another pause. 1 hour. Come alone or the girls disappear permanently. The line went dead. Tank stared at Oakes. You just lied to a billionaire. He's not going to let us walk away. I know, Oakes said. That's why we're not going alone. 50 minutes until the exchange. Oakes had a different plan. He'll expect us at the bridge. So we won't be there. He pointed at the mansion. We'll be inside getting the girls while he's waiting for us. Tank's eyes widened. That's suicide. It's the only way. He'll bring security to the bridge. Maybe even police. The mansion will be lighter on guards. Marek checked his watch. We have less than an hour. Then we move fast. Oakes turned to Drax. You take the lockbox to the bridge. Make him think we're coming. Stall as long as possible. And when he realizes it's just me, run. Lead them away from us. Oaks looked at his crew. The rest of us go in through the east garden. Sky told me there's a gate there with a blind spot. They split up. Drax rode toward the bridge. The others circled around to the east side of Aldridge's property. The mansion looked even bigger up close. Every window blazed with light. Cameras swiveled slowly on their mounts. Tank studied the gate. 2-second blind spot. That's barely enough time. It'll have to be. Oaks watched the camera sweep left. Go. Now. They slipped through one by one. Made it to the garden wall without triggering alarms. Merrick tried the service door. Locked. Sky said there's a kitchen entrance. Oaks whispered. Around back. They crept along the wall. Every shadow felt like a trap. Every sound made them freeze. The kitchen door was unlocked. They slipped inside. The kitchen was empty but spotless. Expensive appliances. Marble counters. Everything perfect. Everything fake. Voices echoed from somewhere deeper in the house. Oaks held up his hand. They waited. Listened. A woman's voice. Mr. Aldridge left for the bridge 20 minutes ago. Took 3 security personnel. Another voice. What about the children? Still in the holding room. He said not to move them until he returns. Holding room. Not basement. Different location than Sky described. The voices faded. Footsteps receded. Tank whispered, "Where's this holding room?" Oaks remembered something, Sky said. About the library. A secret door behind the shelves. They moved through the mansion like ghosts. Past expensive paintings. Persian rugs. Photos of Aldridge shaking hands with presidents and celebrities. The library was massive. Floor-to-ceiling books. Leather chairs. A fireplace that could fit 3 men. Oaks went straight to the shelves on the far wall. Started pressing. Pulling. Looking for anything unusual. Marek found it. A book that didn't move. He pulled harder. Click. The entire bookshelf swung inward. Behind it was a steel door with a keypad. Sky knew the code, Oaks said. She watched him type it. What was it? Oaks closed his eyes. Tried to remember exactly what she'd said. 4 numbers. Her birthday? No. Her mother's birthday. He typed 0815. Red light. Wrong code. Try again, Tank urged. Oaks thought harder. Sky said Aldridge was obsessed with control. With ownership. He tried 0000. Red light. One more wrong entry and it probably locks down, Marek warned. Oaks stared at the keypad. What would a narcissist use? Something that meant something only to him. Then it hit him. The date his charity foundation was established. Sky had mentioned it once. August 20th. He typed 0820. Green light. The door clicked open. The smell hit them first. Cleaning chemicals trying to cover something worse. Fear. Desperation. The scent of children who'd cried themselves to sleep too many times. They descended into darkness. At the bottom was a hallway. 3 doors on each side. All closed. All silent. Oaks tried the first door. Locked. The second. Locked. The third door was slightly open. Inside, 2 small figures huddled on a single cot. Sky and Mila. Both alive. Sky's head shot up. Her eyes went wide. You came. Always, Oaks said. But before anyone could move. Lights flooded the hallway. And a voice echoed through speakers hidden in the walls. Hello, gentlemen. I was wondering when you'd figure it out. Aldridge. The bridge was never the meeting point. It was a test. And you failed spectacularly. Steel doors slammed shut at both ends of the hallway. They were trapped. Now, Aldridge's voice continued, let's discuss what happens to people who break into my home. The lights were blinding. Sky grabbed Oak's hand. Mila pressed against Sky, shaking. The doors won't open. Tank said, pulling at the steel. We're locked in. Aldridge's voice purred through the speakers. I designed this room myself. Soundproof. Airtight when I choose. Right now, you have about 2 hours of oxygen. After that. He paused. Well, suffocation is surprisingly peaceful, or so I'm told. Marek scanned the ceiling. Cameras in every corner. He's watching us. Of course I am. Aldridge sounded amused. I watch everything. It's how I've stayed ahead of people like you for so long. Oaks pulled Sky close. You all right? She nodded, but her eyes said different. He told the police officer you were dangerous. That you'd taken me. I didn't want to go, but the officer grabbed my arm and said I didn't have a choice. I know, sweetheart. It's not your fault. Mila's voice was tiny. Are we going to die here? No, Oak said firmly. Nobody's dying. Aldridge laughed. Such confidence. Tell me, Oaks, what's your plan now? Break down a steel door with your bare hands? Pray for divine intervention? Tank slammed his fist against the wall. Face us like a man instead of hiding behind cameras. Why would I do that? This is much more entertaining. Watching tough bikers realize they're completely powerless. Aldridge's tone shifted, colder. You broke into my home. Attempted to kidnap children under my legal guardianship. By morning, you'll be wanted criminals. That is, if anyone finds your bodies. Sky stepped forward, staring at the nearest camera. You killed my mama. Silence. Then, your mother was careless. She found documents she shouldn't have seen. Asked questions to the wrong people. What did you do to her? I gave her a choice. Keep quiet and keep her daughter safe. Or talk and lose everything. Aldridge sighed. She chose poorly. Tears streamed down Sky's face. Where is she? Does it matter? She's gone. Just like you'll all be gone. Oaks put his hand on Sky's shoulder. Don't listen to him. But Sky kept staring at the camera. People know we're here. People know about you. Do they? Who exactly? Your biker friends. They're criminals. Their word means nothing. Aldridge chuckled. I've already called Judge Morrison. Told him about the attempted break-in. He's signing arrest warrants as we speak. Tank pulled out his phone. No signal. He's blocking everything. Marek tried his. Same thing. We're completely cut off. Aldridge continued, the beauty of being beloved is that nobody questions your version of events. Tomorrow's headline, local philanthropist thwarts child trafficking ring. I'll be even more celebrated. You're insane, Oaks said. I'm practical. I take what I want. I remove obstacles. I built an empire on knowing what people desire and giving it to them for a price. His voice hardened. Your problem is you thought children like Sky and Mila mattered to anyone but you. They don't. They're forgotten. Invisible. That's why I chose them. Sky's hands balled into fists. I'm not invisible. Oh, sweetheart. You're the most invisible of all. Daughter of a nobody. No father. Mother who disappeared. Who's going to miss you? I will, Oak said quietly. We all will. How touching. The criminals care about the orphan. Someone write a country song. Aldridge's amusement faded. You have 90 minutes of air left. I suggest you spend it making peace with whatever God you believe in. The speaker clicked off. The silence that followed was crushing. Mila started crying. Sky held her. Tank examined every inch of the walls. Marek checked the ceiling. Looking for weaknesses. Vents. Anything. Oaks knelt in front of both girls. Listen to me. We're getting out. I promise. You can't promise that, Sky whispered. Nobody beats him. Nobody. Maybe nobody's tried hard enough. Sky reached into her pocket. Pulled out a small piece of paper, folded tight. Mama gave me this. The night before she disappeared, she said if anything happened to her, I should keep it safe. Oaks unfolded it. It was a combination. 6 numbers. And an address. Wait. Sky's mother left her a lifeline from beyond the grave? Subscribe right now so you don't miss how this evidence changes everything. And comment below, do you think her mother knew she was going to die? I need to know what you're thinking because this twist just broke my heart. Oak stared at the paper. The address was for a storage unit across town. The combination was the lock code. Your mama was smart, he told Sky. Really smart. What does it mean? Marek asked. It means she knew she was in danger. She hid something important where Aldridge couldn't find it. Tank kept searching the walls. That's great, but we're still locked in here with 80 minutes of air left. Sky pointed to a vent near the ceiling. That's how I heard the other kids crying. The sound travels through the vents. Oaks looked up. The vent was small. Maybe big enough for a child. Can you fit through there? He asked Sky. She nodded slowly. I think so. No. Marek shook his head. We're not sending a 7-year-old through air ducts alone. We don't have a choice. Oaks lifted Sky up so she could see the vent. Where does it lead? She peered inside. There's a shaft that goes up. I can see light at the top. Maybe it goes to another room. If you get through, can you open the door from the outside? I don't know. Maybe. It was the weakest plan Oaks had ever made. But it was all they had. Tank boosted Sky higher. You scared? Terrified, she admitted. But more scared of staying here. Marek unscrewed the vent cover with his knife. The opening looked impossibly small. Sky squeezed through. Her feet disappeared into the darkness. For 30 seconds, they heard nothing. Then scraping sounds. Metal on metal. Sky's small voice echoing, it's tight. Keep going, sweetheart. You're doing great. More scraping. Then silence. Sky. Oaks called. No answer. Mila started crying. She's gone. He got her. No. She's just moving through the vent. Give her time. But the seconds crawled like hours. Tank checked his watch. 70 minutes of air. Then they heard it. A click from outside the door. The lock was turning. Oaks, Tank, and Marek positioned themselves. Ready for whoever came through. The door swung open. Sky stood there, covered in dust, breathing hard. There was a panel at the end. It opened into a storage closet. The door wasn't locked from that side. Oaks grabbed her, pulled her into a quick hug. You're incredible. They moved fast. Back down the hallway. Up the stairs. Through the library. Voices echoed from the front of the mansion. Security guards talking. Getting closer. Kitchen. Oaks whispered. They ran. Mila couldn't keep up. Tank scooped her into his arms. The kitchen was still empty. They burst through the back door into the garden. Alarms started screaming. They know we're out, Marek said. Run. They sprinted across the lawn. Made it to the east gate. Slipped through just as floodlights blazed across the property. Their bikes were exactly where they'd hidden them. Engines roared to life. Sky climbed on behind Oaks. Mila went with Tank. They tore down the hill, away from the mansion, into the dark streets. Behind them, vehicles poured out of Aldridge's property. Black SUVs. Security teams. The chase was on. Where do we go? Tank shouted over the wind. The storage unit. Oaks yelled back. We need whatever Sky's mama hid there. They cut through back roads. through neighborhoods where people were settling in for the night, completely unaware that a billionaire was hunting children through their town. Sky pressed her face against Oak's back. He's going to catch us. He always catches everyone. Not tonight, Oak said. But even he wasn't sure he believed it. They reached the storage facility. Row after row of orange units. Most locked up tight for the night. Unit 247. That was the number on Sky's paper. Oakes entered the combination with shaking hands. The lock clicked open. Inside was a filing cabinet, a laptop, and a safe. Marek grabbed the laptop. This could have everything. Tank opened the filing cabinet. Folders spilled out. Bank records. Photos. Contracts with names blacked out. But it was the safe that made Oak's heart pound. Same combination as the storage unit. He opened it. Inside were USB drives. Dozens of them. Each labeled with a date, and a letter addressed to Sky. Sky's hands trembled as she held her mother's letter. The paper was worn, like it had been read and refolded many times. Do you want to read it alone? Oakes asked gently. She shook her head. I want you to read it. I don't think I can. Oakes opened the letter carefully. My dearest Sky. If you're reading this, I'm gone. Not by choice. Never by choice. I would never leave you. Aldridge is not who people think he is. I discovered he's been using his charity foundation to traffic children to wealthy buyers. I have proof. Video recordings. Financial transfers. Names of everyone involved. I went to the police. They told Aldridge. That's when I knew I was in danger. I love you more than life itself. Stay strong. Trust good people when you find them. Love always. Mama Sky's tears fell silently. Marek grabbed one of the USB drives. We need to see what's on these. Tank pulled out his laptop from his bike bag. Plugged in the first drive. Video files. Dozens of them. He clicked one. The screen showed Aldridge's mansion. A party. Rich people laughing, drinking champagne. Then the camera angle changed, showed children serving food. Young children. Too young to be working. The next video was worse. A bidding. Men and women raising paddles like it was an auction. And the items being bid on were children standing on a platform. Marek looked sick. This is happening in our town. Right under everyone's noses. Tank opened another file. This one showed bank transfers. Millions of dollars moving between accounts. Names of politicians, judges, police chiefs. All receiving payments from Aldridge's foundation. He bought them all, Oakes said quietly. That's why nobody stops him. Sky stared at the screen. My mama tried to stop him. And now we will, Oakes promised. Suddenly, headlights swept across the storage facility entrance. Multiple vehicles. Moving fast. They found us, Drax said. Tank grabbed the USB drives, shoved them in his vest. We need to move. Now. But Oakes held up his hand. Wait. Maybe it's time to stop running. What are you talking about? Marek asked. We have everything. Proof. Evidence. Witnesses. Oakes looked at each man. If we keep running, Aldridge controls the story. Makes us look like kidnappers. But if we face him now, with cameras rolling, with this evidence, he'll destroy us, Tank said. Or we destroy him. Oakes pulled out his phone. Started dialing. I'm calling every news station. Every reporter. Telling them exactly where we are and what we found. That's insane, Marek said. It's the only way. Oakes hit send on the first call. We need witnesses. Public witnesses. People who'll see Aldridge for what he really is. Sky tugged his sleeve. What if they don't believe us? They will. Because we have your mama's evidence. And we have you, and Mila. Living proof of what he's done. The vehicles pulled into the storage facility. Doors opened. But it wasn't just security guards. It was police cars. News vans. Even an FBI vehicle. Tank's eyes widened. You already called them? Before we got here? Oaks nodded. Sent them everything from the lockbox an hour ago. Anonymous tip. They've been investigating. We just gave them the location. A woman in an FBI jacket approached. We're looking for Sky Morrison and Mila Chen. Are they safe? They're here, Oaks said. And they're ready to talk. Behind the FBI agent. Reporters were setting up cameras, microphones, lights. And pulling up in his black Range Rover, looking perfectly calm, was Aldrich himself. He stepped out, smile in place. Officers, thank God you're here. These men kidnapped 2 children from my care. I've been frantic. The FBI agent turned to him. Mr. Aldrich, you're under arrest for human trafficking, conspiracy, and murder. His smile froze. Murder? He repeated. Sarah Morrison. Sky's mother. We just exhumed her body from your property. Would you like to explain why she's buried in your rose garden? The color drained from Aldrich's face. Cameras captured everything. And Sky stepped forward, no longer scared, no longer invisible. You told me nobody would believe me, she said clearly. You were wrong. The FBI moved fast. Handcuffs clicked around Aldrich's wrists. Cameras flashed like lightning. Reporters shouted questions. But Aldrich kept his composure. Even in handcuffs, he smiled. This is a misunderstanding, he said smoothly into the cameras. I've dedicated my life to helping children. These accusations are. We found the basement, the FBI agent interrupted. 23 children. Ages 4 to 12. All reported missing from different states over the past 5 years. The reporters went silent. Aldrich's smile finally cracked. Those children were rescues. I was providing them shelter. From cages. The agent held up her phone, showing photos. These are the conditions we found them in. Locked rooms. No windows. Malnourished. Sky stood between Oaks and Marek, watching her monster get exposed. Mila held her hand tight. A reporter pushed forward. Sky, is it true you escaped from Mr. Aldrich's house? Sky nodded. He took me after my mama disappeared. Said he was helping me. But he locked us up. Hurt us when we cried. Sold some kids to people who came to his parties. Another reporter, sold them. Like things. Not people. Just things he could give away. Sky's voice was steady now. Strong. My mama found out. That's why he killed her. Aldrich lunged forward despite the handcuffs. She's lying. She's a child, she doesn't understand. We have video evidence. The FBI agent said. Your own security cameras. Every transaction. Every visitor. Everything. Aldrich's face went pale. More police cars arrived. Social workers. Ambulances for the children still at the mansion. Tank stood watching it all. It's really over. After all this, it's just over. Not quite, Marek said. Look. A black sedan pulled up. A woman in an expensive suit stepped out. She walked straight to Aldrich, whispered something in his ear. His lawyer. Within minutes, she was talking to the FBI. To reporters, spinning a new story. Mental illness. Misguided help. Anything to soften the charges. Oaks felt his anger rise. She's going to get him off. No, Sky said quietly. She won't. How do you know? Because Mama's evidence isn't just videos. It's bank records. Money. Trails. And names. Sky pulled out the letter again, pointed to the back. Mama wrote this. Every person who knew what Aldridge was doing. Every person who helped him. The list was long. Judges. Senators. Police chiefs. Business owners. People everyone trusted. If they defend Aldridge, they go down with him, Sky said. Mama made sure of it. The FBI agent walked over. Sky, we need you to make an official statement. And Mila, too. Is that okay? Sky looked up at Oaks. Will you stay with me? Every second. They went to a mobile command center the FBI had set up. Inside were computers, recording equipment, comfortable chairs. A kind woman with gentle eyes sat across from Sky. I'm Agent Chen. I need you to tell me everything that happened. Take your time. Nothing you say will get you in trouble. Sky took a breath. Started talking. She talked about the basement. The other children. The crying at night. The people who came to the mansion and left with kids. The way Aldridge smiled in public but turned cold in private. She talked about her mama. How brave she was. How she tried to save everyone. She talked for 2 hours straight while Oaks held her hand. When she finished, Agent Chen had tears in her eyes. You're the bravest person I've ever met. I'm not brave, Sky whispered. I'm just tired of being scared. That's what bravery is. Outside, more arrests were happening, a judge being led away in handcuffs. A police captain. A state senator. The web was unraveling fast. By midnight, news stations across the country were running the story. Beloved billionaire's dark secret. Child trafficking ring exposed. Small town's nightmare. Sky watched the news through the command center window. Saw Aldridge being loaded into a police van. Saw his mansion swarmed with investigators. Is it really over? Mila asked. Oaks knelt down. For you too. Yes. You're safe now. What happens to us? Sky asked. That question hung in the air. No father. Mother dead. No family to claim them. Agent Chen touched Sky's shoulder gently. We'll find you a good home. Both of you. I promise. But Sky's eyes filled with tears. After everything, she was still alone. 3 days after the arrest, Aldridge posted bail. $5 million. Paid in cash. Oaks got the news from Agent Chen over the phone. His stomach dropped. How is that possible? He's a flight risk. His lawyers argued he's a pillar of the community. Judge granted bail with an ankle monitor. Agent Chen sounded defeated. I'm sorry. We fought it. Which judge? Silence. Judge Patterson. He wasn't on your list. Oaks cursed. There were more people in Aldridge's pocket than they knew. He called Tank immediately. Aldridge is out. Out? How? Money. It's always money. Oaks paced the motel room where they'd been staying. Where are the girls? Safe house. FBI protection. 2 agents watching them around the clock. That's not enough. No, it's not enough. Tank went quiet. What are you thinking? I'm thinking Aldridge didn't build an empire by giving up when things got hard. He's planning something. That night proved Oaks right. The first threat came by text. Unknown number. Sent to Sky's temporary phone the FBI had given her. Tell them you lied. Or everyone you love disappears. Sky showed it to Agent Chen with shaking hands. We'll trace it, the agent said. But her face said she already knew it was untraceable. The second threat came 3 hours later. A package delivered to the safe house. Inside was a photo of Marek's daughter. The one he hadn't seen in 8 years. Standing outside her school. The message was clear, talk, and we hurt the people you care about. Tank got a similar photo. His elderly mother at the grocery store. Drax received one of his sister at work. Oaks got the worst one. A photo of the grave where his daughter was buried. Fresh flowers on the headstone. And a note, she's at peace. Don't disturb her rest. The threat wasn't just about hurting the living. It was about desecrating the dead. He's getting to us, Marek said, voice shaking. He's out for 3 days and he's already winning. They gathered at the safe house. All the bikers. Agent Chen. And Sky, who refused to be sent away. He wants me to say I lied, she told them. That's the only way he walks away clean. You're not doing that, Oak said firmly. But your families are adults who can make their own choices. You're a child. We protect you, not the other way around. Agent Chen's phone rang. She stepped away, talked quietly, then came back pale. What? Oakes asked. 2 of the children we rescued from Aldridge's mansion just recanted their statements. Said they were confused. That Aldridge never hurt them. He got to them, Tank said. Threatened their foster families. Without those testimonies, our case gets weaker. Agent Chen sat down hard. Sky and Mila are our strongest witnesses now. If they recant, we won't, Sky said. But her voice trembled. Right, Mila. Mila, sitting on the couch, didn't answer. She stared at the floor. Mila. Sky moved closer. You won't lie for him, right? He said. Mila's voice was barely a whisper. He said my baby brother is in foster care across town. Said bad things happen to babies in foster care if their sisters don't cooperate. The room went cold. He's threatening a toddler. Marek said, disgusted. Agent Chen grabbed her phone. I'll get protection for the brother immediately. But the damage was done. Fear had crept back in. That night, while everyone slept, Sky sat by the window. Watched the street. Wondered if running again was the answer. A car pulled up across the street. Black sedan. Windows tinted. It sat there. Engine running. Waiting, Sky's heart pounded. She woke Oakes. He's here. Or someone working for him. Oakes looked out the window. The car didn't move. Just sat there. A reminder. A threat. A promise that Aldridge was always watching. We can't live like this, Sky whispered. Hiding forever. Scared of every car. Every phone call. We won't have to. The trial. The trial could take years. And he'll keep threatening everyone until they're all too scared to testify. Sky turned to Oakes. There's only one way to stop him. What's that? I go back. Absolutely not. Not really back. But make him think I am. Make him believe he's won. Then trap him. Oakes stared at this 7-year-old who'd survived hell and was now planning to walk back into it. That's the craziest thing I've ever heard. Sky's eyes were fierce. It's the only thing that'll work. Agent Chen refused at first. Absolutely not. We don't use children as bait. I'm not bait, Sky said. I'm the only one he wants. The only one who can get close enough. Close enough for what? Oakes asked. And know about. Sky's plan was forming fast. He thinks he's won. That everyone's too scared to fight. If I show up and tell him I'll recant my statement, he'll get cocky. Say things he shouldn't. Marek shook his head. This is a child. We can't. I'm a child he already hurt, Sky interrupted. I'm a child whose mama is dead because of him. I'm a child who has nothing left to lose. That last part silenced everyone. Agent Chen studied Sky carefully. Even if we considered this, and that's a massive if, how would we keep you safe? Wire me. Put agents everywhere. Let me meet him somewhere public. Sky's voice didn't waver. He'll want to meet. His ego won't let him pass up the chance to gloat. Tank looked at Oakes. This is insane. It's also smart, Oakes admitted quietly. Aldridge thinks he's untouchable. Thinks money solves everything. He won't expect a 7-year-old to outthink him. Agent Chen paced. Made phone calls. Came back an hour later. My supervisor said no. Too dangerous. Too many ways it could go wrong. Sky's shoulders sagged. Then Agent Chen added, but he also said if you were to accidentally send Aldridge a message from your phone, and if he were to respond and suggest a meeting, and if that meeting happened to take place somewhere we could legally monitor, well, we couldn't stop you from being in a public place. The meaning was clear. The FBI couldn't officially sanction it. But they wouldn't stop it either. Sky picked up her phone. Stared at the screen. What do I say? She asked. Oak sat beside her. Tell him you're tired. That you want everything to go back to normal. That you'll do whatever he wants. Sky's fingers shook as she typed, Mr. Aldridge, I can't do this anymore. Everyone's scared. I'm scared. I'll tell them I made a mistake. That I was confused. Just please leave everyone alone. She hit send. For 5 minutes, nothing. Then, 3 dots appeared. He was typing. Smart girl. I knew you'd understand eventually. Meet me tomorrow. Riverside Park. Noon. Come alone. Sky showed the message to Agent Chen. Riverside Park is perfect. Open. Public. We can have agents positioned everywhere. Agent Chen looked at Sky. Are you absolutely sure about this? No, Sky admitted. But I'm doing it anyway. That night, they prepared. Fitted Sky with a tiny microphone hidden in her jacket button. Went over every possible scenario. What to say. How to stay calm. When to signal for help. Mila hugged her before bed. What if he takes you again? He won't. I have 20 bikers and the FBI watching my back. Sky tried to sound brave. Besides, I'm not the same scared girl who ran away. I'm stronger now. But alone in her room that night, Sky wasn't so sure. She looked at her mama's letter again. Read the last line, trust good people when you find them. She'd found them. Oaks, Tank, Merrick, Drax. Men who chose to protect her when they didn't have to. Men who risked everything for a child they barely knew. Tomorrow, she'd face the monster who took everything from her. And either she'd win, or Aldridge would prove that evil always wins in the end. I can't believe a 10-year-old is about to walk into a trap to save everyone else. If your heart is pounding like mine, smash that subscribe button because you need to see if she makes it out alive. Comment stay safe Sky if you're rooting for her. I want to see this comment section flooded with support for this brave little girl. She fell asleep holding her mama's letter, dreaming of the day when monsters finally faced justice. And little girls didn't have to be brave anymore. Noon came too fast. Riverside Park was busy. Families having picnics. Kids on the playground. Joggers on the path. Nobody knew the FBI had 15 agents scattered through the crowd. Sky sat on a bench near the fountain. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. Oaks was 50 feet away, pretending to read a newspaper. Tank was by the hot dog stand. Merrick jogged past every few minutes. Drax sat in a car across the street. Agent Chen spoke through the earpiece hidden under Sky's hair. Remember, keep him talking. Get him to admit what he did. We need him on record. Sky nodded slightly. A black car pulled up. Not Aldridge's usual Range Rover. Something more discreet. He stepped out wearing jeans and a baseball cap. Trying to look normal. Like a regular person, not a billionaire criminal. He sat next to Sky on the bench. Didn't look at her. Just stared at the fountain. Smart choice, he said quietly. I was beginning to think you'd choose the hard way. I'm tired of fighting. Sky kept her voice steady. I just want everything to stop. It will. Once you tell the FBI, you exaggerated. That you were confused and scared. A child's imagination running wild. He smiled. Everyone understands how trauma can make children say untrue things. Helping people. And you get to live a normal life. Foster care. Maybe adoption eventually. Forget all this unpleasantness. Sky's stomach turned. He actually believed his own lies. What about the other children? The ones still missing? What other children? Aldridge's voice was smooth as glass. The children in my care were rescues. I saved them from terrible situations. The authorities misunderstood my methods. You locked them in a basement. Temporary housing while I arranged proper placements. All perfectly legal. He finally looked at her. You see, Sky, the world isn't black and white. Sometimes we have to make difficult choices for the greater good. The greater good? Sky's voice rose. You killed my mama. Lower your voice. His smile disappeared. Your mother made accusations she couldn't prove. She was unstable. Everyone said so. That's a lie. Is it? Who's going to believe you? A troubled child with no family? He leaned closer. I've already spoken. With several journalists. They're preparing stories about how this whole thing was a misunderstanding. How overreaching bikers manipulated a confused little girl. Sky felt tears coming. People saw the evidence. The videos. The bank records. Fabricated. My lawyers will prove it. Digital manipulation is easy these days. Aldridge straightened his cap. By the time this goes to trial, public opinion will be completely on my side. You'll be the villain who destroyed a good man's reputation. Agent Chen's voice crackled in Sky's ear. Get him to talk about your mother. We need that confession. Sky swallowed hard. What did you do with Mama's body? Where did you bury her? Aldridge went very still. I don't know what you're talking about. The FBI found her. In your rose garden. You said you'd make her disappear, but you just buried her on your property. Sky's voice broke. Why? Why didn't you just let her go? For the first time, Aldridge looked nervous. His eyes scanned. The park. Who else is here, Sky? Nobody. Just us. You're wearing a wire, aren't you? He stood up fast. Clever girl. But not clever enough. He pulled out his phone. Made a call. Plan B. Now. Across the park, the black sedan that brought him screeched forward. But so did 3 FBI vehicles, blocking its path. Agents swarmed from every direction. Aldridge tried to run. Made it 5 steps before Agent Chen tackled him to the ground. You're under arrest. Again. And this time, there's no bail. Sky stood frozen on the bench, watching her nightmare finally end. Oakes rushed over, pulled her into his arms. You did it. You got him. But Sky didn't feel victorious. She felt empty. Because her mama was still gone. And nothing would bring her back. 2 days after Aldridge's second arrest, Agent Chen called Sky to the FBI office. We need you to do something difficult, she said gently. We need you to walk through the mansion one more time. Help us find anything we might have missed. Sky's breath caught. I don't want to go back there. I know. But other children are still unaccounted for. Families waiting for answers. You know that house better than anyone. Oakes drove her there that afternoon. The mansion looked different now. Crime scene tape everywhere. No fountains running. Windows dark. Inside was worse. Empty rooms that used to shine now felt hollow. The marble floors echoed with every footstep. Agent Chen led them to the basement door. You don't have to go down if you can't. Sky stared at the stairs. This was where her nightmares lived. Where she'd heard children crying. Where she'd waited for her turn to disappear. I can do it, she whispered. Oakes took her hand. I'm right beside you. They descended together. The basement looked smaller in the light. Sadder. Cots lined up like hospital beds. Toys scattered on the floor. A chalkboard with math problems still written on it. He made us do schoolwork, Sky said, quietly. Said educated children were worth more. Agent Chen wrote notes. Worth more to who? The people who came to the parties. The ones who bid on us. Sky pointed to a corner. That's where we'd stand. In a line. And they'd walk past us like we were cars at a dealership. The words made Oaks sick. Sky moved to the far wall. There's another room. Behind here. We searched every room. Agent Chen said. No. There's a hidden one. I heard him talking to someone once. Said he kept special records in the safe room. For insurance. They examined the wall. It looked solid. No obvious doors. Sky knocked on different sections. Listening. Here. Sounds hollow. Agent Chen called in a team. They brought equipment. Found the seams of a hidden door. Took 30 minutes to figure out how to open it. When it finally swung inward, everyone went silent. The room was small. Just a desk, a computer, and a massive safe built into the wall. Can you open it? Agent Chen asked the tech team. Not without the combination. And this model is designed to destroy its contents if breached incorrectly. Sky walked to the safe. Stared at the digital keypad. What would he use? She thought aloud. Something important to him. Something nobody else would guess. She tried his birthday. Red light. Wrong. His foundation's founding date. Red light. One more wrong attempt and it locks permanently, the tech warned. Sky closed her eyes. Thought about everything Aldridge had said. About control. About ownership. About how he saw children as property. Then she remembered. The night Mama disappeared. March 15th. The night he took everything from her. She typed, 0315. Green light. The safe door clicked open. Inside were file folders. USB drives. And photographs that made Agent Chen immediately turn Sky away. Don't look, she said firmly. Oaks, get her out of here. But Sky had already seen enough. Photos of children with important-looking people. Children who looked scared. Broken. Lost. Those are the missing ones, Sky said. The ones who never came back. Agent Chen pulled out a ledger, names. Dates. Amounts. Destinations. This is a trafficking log, she breathed. Every child he ever sold. Every buyer. Every location. Her hands shook. This is bigger than we thought. International. Organized. This isn't just Aldridge. This is a network. Oaks felt the weight of it. How many children? Agent Chen counted pages. Over 200. Spanning 10 years. The number crushed the air from the room. Sky's legs gave out. Oaks caught her before she fell. 200. She whispered. 200 families destroyed. But now we can find them, Agent Chen said. Now we can bring them home. Because of you, Sky. Because you were brave enough to come back here. They spent 3 more hours documenting everything. Every file. Every photo. Every piece of evidence that would bring down not just Aldridge, but everyone involved. When they finally left, the sun was setting. The mansion cast long shadows across the lawn. Sky looked back at it one last time. I hope they tear it down, she said. I hope nobody ever has to see it again. They will, Oaks promised. Every brick. Every reminder. Gone. That night, the news broke. Trafficking network exposed. International investigation launched. 200 children missing. The world finally understood the scope of what Aldridge had built. And in a small motel room, Sky cried for every child whose name was in that ledger. Every child who didn't get to run away. Every child still waiting to be found. 3 weeks passed. The investigation expanded to 12 countries. 78 arrests. Politicians, businessmen, even a few celebrities. The world watched in horror as the trafficking network unraveled. Sky and Mila stayed in protective custody. Same safe house. Same routines. Waiting for the trial that would put Aldridge away forever. Then Agent Chen came with news that changed everything. "We found something in your mother's bank records," she said carefully. "Something we missed before." Sky looked up from the book she was reading. "What?" "Your mother made deposits. Large deposits. Every month for 2 years before she disappeared." "From her job?" "No. The amounts were too big. Way beyond what Aldridge paid his employees." Agent Chen sat down. "Sky, the deposits came from offshore accounts. The same accounts Aldridge used to pay off politicians and buyers." The room went cold. "What are you saying?" Oakes asked. "I'm saying, Sarah Morrison might have been involved in the trafficking operation. At least financially." "No." Sky shook her head hard. "My mama would never. I know this is difficult. But the evidence is wrong." Sky stood up, fists clenched. "My mama was trying to stop him, not help him." Agent Chin pulled out financial statements. "These deposits started 2 years before she died. Right when Aldridge's trafficking operation was expanding. And according to the ledger we found, several transactions were processed under her name." Marek studied the papers. Could Aldridge have used her name without her knowing? Possible. But unlikely. She would have noticed large deposits in her account. Agent Chen's voice was gentle. "I'm sorry, Sky. But we have to follow every lead. Including the ones that are hard to accept." Sky felt like the floor was collapsing. She wouldn't. She loved me. She tried to protect me. Maybe she did both. Maybe she got involved, realized how wrong it was, and tried to get out. Agent Chin touched Sky's shoulder. "People make mistakes. Doesn't mean she didn't love you." But Sky pulled away. Ran to her room. Slammed the door. Oakes followed. Found her on the bed, clutching her mama's letter. "She was good," Sky sobbed. "She was trying to save everyone." "I believe you," Oakes said softly. "But what if Agent Chen is right? What if Mama was helping him and I just didn't want to see it?" Oakes sat on the edge of the bed. "Want to know what I think?" Sky nodded through tears. "I think your mama might have done something she wasn't proud of. Maybe Aldridge tricked her. Maybe he blackmailed her. Maybe she needed money and made a bad choice." Oakes brushed hair from Sky's face. "But I also think the moment she realized what was really happening, she tried to stop it. And that's what got her killed." "How do you know?" "Because she hid all that evidence. Risked her life to document everything. Left you that letter and those USB drives. People who are guilty don't leave evidence behind. They destroy it." Sky wiped her eyes. "So she was trying to make things right?" "I think so. I think she made a mistake, and then she spent every day after that trying to fix it." Oakes squeezed her hand. "That's what brave people do. They face their mistakes and try to do better." A knock on the door. Agent Chen stepped in carefully. "Sky. I need to show you something else we found. In your mother's storage unit." They went back to the living room. Agent Chen opened her laptop. "Your mother kept a video diary. Recorded entries over 6 months before she died." She hit play. Sky's mama appeared on screen. She looked tired. Scared. "My name is Sarah Morrison. If you're watching this, I'm probably dead. I need to explain what I did and why I did it." Sky's breath caught. Her mama continued, 2 years ago, Aldridge offered me a job. Executive assistant. Great pay. I was a single mother struggling to make rent. I said yes without asking questions. Then I started noticing things. Money moving through accounts I managed. Children coming and going from his house. Strange meetings with powerful people. She paused, wiping tears. By the time I realized what was happening, I was already implicated. My name on documents. My signatures on transfers. Aldridge told me if I said anything, he'd make sure I went to prison. That Sky would grow up without a mother. Sky's heart broke. So I played along. But I also started documenting everything. Every transaction. Every name. Every crime. I built a case against him. Against all of them. Sarah's voice strengthened. Aldridge doesn't know, but I've been working with a federal agent for 3 months. We're building a case that will destroy him. The video ended. Agent Chen spoke quietly. Your mother was an informant. She was helping us build a case when Aldridge found out and killed her. Everything she did, the money, the signatures, it was all evidence we needed. Sky couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. Her mama hadn't betrayed her. She'd saved her. I'm literally crying. Sky's mother wasn't a villain, she was a hero who gave her life to take down Aldridge. If this story is hitting you in the feels, subscribe because the trial is coming and justice is about to be served. Comment and tell me, what would you have done in her mother's position? Would you risk everything to save the children? Let's honor her sacrifice in the comments. The trial started 4 months later. Sky sat in the witness box wearing a blue dress Agent Chen had bought her. The courtroom was packed. Reporters. Families of missing children. The bikers in the back row. And Aldridge, sitting at the defense table in an expensive suit, looking calm as ever. The prosecutor was a woman named Miss Rivera. She had kind eyes but a steel voice. Sky, can you tell the court how you came to live with Mr. Aldridge? Sky's hands gripped the armrests. She'd practiced this 100 times. But actually saying it out loud, in front of everyone, was different. My mama worked for him. When she disappeared, he said he'd take care of me. Social services believed him because he's rich and famous. And what happened when you moved into his house? At first, it seemed okay. Nice room. Food. A tutor. But then I realized I couldn't leave. Couldn't call anyone. There were other kids there too. In locked rooms. Aldridge's lawyer stood. Objection. The defendant provided housing for disadvantaged children as part of his charitable work, which required locked doors and no outside contact. Miss Rivera shot back. The judge sustained the objection, but the point was made. Miss Rivera continued. What did you witness while living there? I heard children crying every night. Saw important people come to parties and leave with kids. Heard Aldridge on the phone talking about sales and deliveries like we were products. Sky's voice shook but held steady. And I found out my mama died because she tried to stop him. The courtroom murmured. Over the next hour, Sky detailed everything. The basement. The hidden room. The ledger with 200 names. The video evidence her mama had collected. Aldridge's lawyer tried to shake her during cross-examination. Isn't it true you have an active imagination, Sky? No, sir. Isn't it true you were traumatized by your mother's abandonment and created this elaborate story to cope? My mama didn't abandon me. She was murdered. There's no proof of that. They found her body in his rose garden. The lawyer paused. Changed tactics. Isn't it true these bikers, he pointed at Oaks and the others, convinced you to lie about Mr. Aldridge? Nobody convinced me of anything. I lived it. A 7-year-old child against a respected philanthropist. Who should this jury believe? The one telling the truth. The courtroom was silent. After Sky, 23 other children testified. Former residents of Aldridge's house. Each told similar stories. Locked rooms, strange visitors. Kids disappearing. Then came the FBI evidence. Bank records. Videos. Photographs. The ledger with names and prices. The jury looked sick. But Aldridge's defense was clever. They argued he was running a misunderstood rescue operation. That authorities had misinterpreted his methods. That the children were troubled and confused. They brought character witnesses. Business leaders. Charity board members. Even a senator who'd received Aldridge's donations. All testified to his good character. His generosity. His commitment to helping children. The trial lasted 3 weeks. When it went to the jury, nobody knew which way it would go. Rich men with good lawyers often walked free. Sky waited in the courthouse hallway with Oaks. Mila slept with her head on Sky's lap. What if they say he's not guilty? Sky whispered. Then we keep fighting. We don't stop until justice is served. I'm tired of fighting. I know. Oaks squeezed her hand. But you're not alone anymore. You've got all of us. Tank brought coffee. Marek paced the hallway. Drax sat reading the same magazine page over and over. 6 hours later, the jury returned. Everyone filed back into the courtroom. Sky's heart hammered so hard she thought everyone could hear it. The judge asked, "Has the jury reached a verdict?" "We have, Your Honor." "On the charge of human trafficking, how do you find?" "Guilty." The courtroom erupted. "On the charge of conspiracy?" "Guilty." "On the charge of murder in the death of Sarah Morrison?" "Guilty." Sky's knees went weak. Oaks caught her. The judge read the sentence: life in prison without possibility of parole. Plus consecutive sentences for each child harmed. Aldridge would die in prison. As they led him away in handcuffs, he looked at Sky one last time. She stared back. No longer afraid. No longer small. "You lose," she said quietly. And for the first time since this began, she truly believed it. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. Families hugged. The bikers stood together, watching justice finally arrive. Agent Chin found Sky in the crowd. "You did it. You took down one of the biggest trafficking rings in history." "My mama did it," Sky corrected. "I just finished what she started." That night, Sky went to her mama's grave. Placed flowers on the headstone. "I got him, Mama," she whispered. "He can't hurt anyone anymore." The wind rustled through the trees like an answer. And for the first time in months, Sky felt peace. 3 months later, the world had changed, but not as much as Sky had. The safe house was quiet that morning. Sunlight warmed the walls, now covered with drawings made by the rescued children. Most were of flowers, churches, or superheroes. But one drawing stood out: 20 motorcycles tearing across a highway, headlights blazing like stars. Oaks knelt beside Sky as she colored the sky orange. "That us?" he asked softly. Sky nodded, eyes shining. "The heroes who came for us when nobody else did." Outside, mailboxes overflowed with letters, thank you notes from parents whose stolen children were returned. Some enclosed bracelets, handmade cards, or drawings. Sky held one letter gently, as if it were a living thing. She read aloud, "Because of you, my son is home. Because of you, I finally sleep at night. Thank you for being brave when we could not." Her voice cracked, but she kept reading to the end. Later that afternoon, the familiar rumble of engines echoed across the valley. The steel vows were passing through, not in formation this time, but slow, respectful. A quiet promise. Oaks took Sky's hand. "You see, Sky," he murmured, "courage matters. And truth matters. You proved that." Sky blinked fast. "I never thought a little girl could make a billionaire fall." "You did more than make him fall," Oaks said, brushing a tear from her cheek. You reminded the world that even the smallest voice can shake the strongest walls. On Willow Hill, she and Mila stood together, waving as the bikers disappeared into the sunset. The wind lifted a paper pinned to the old church door. It read, "The road takes care of its own. Never underestimate a child who runs toward the truth." The camera holds on Sky's face, scarred, brave, impossibly hopeful. Because in the end, courage is contagious. Justice is relentless. And the world, no matter how dark, bends toward the light. If even one child dares to fight. Fade out.